Well, look at AMC Stock go. You're up 8.5% today. Now, why is this and what do you need to know? We'll cover that here in this video. Some encouraging inflation news that we got today is helping to pave the way for the markets to hit new all-time highs. SPX, the S&P 500, hitting 5,000 for the first time ever. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you this is the best market in the world. It's really being driven by AI at this point. I think AI will be key to what happens next, which could inevitably be a pullback, but nonetheless, that is still a new all-time high for the S&P 500. So we're going to go ahead and get into everything you need to know in regards to AMC and the broad markets. Hit that like button as well as subscribe to the channel. Let me know what you think about this information down below in the comment section. So first up, AMC stock having a great day today, up 8.3%. I've been calling this out. We've been talking about this ever since AMC bounced sharply off of the multi-year all-time low at $3.58 per share. We've been talking about this bounce. It was likely. It's happening. Now, yesterday or a couple days ago, yesterday you were up about 4%. Day before that you were down 3%. And the day that you actually hit the low on February 6th, AMC stock was up 10.9%. Now, specifically when it comes down to AI, I'll give you the long story short. When other AI names come down, that's when the markets will broaden out. That's when AMC stock will go through a larger rally. You can see this on February 6th. That was really the first day Nvidia was down significantly. It was down 4% at one point in the day, closed down 1.6%. And what happened? AMC stock was up almost 11%. Tesla, other names did very well on February 6th, but AI did not, right? So I think that's a key to this, and we'll talk about that more in the next video, so stay tuned to the channel for that one. Timing and what I expect could happen next. But nonetheless, it's a great day today for AMC stock. It's a great day for a lot of different stocks out there. Unless you had bad earnings, well, you're probably in the green today. Now, we don't have any specific news for AMC. There's really nothing to go over. But what is interesting is February 6th, that almost 11% day, was the biggest green day you have seen in AMC since August, which I think is pretty incredible. If we take a look at what the broader index is doing, Russell 2000 is up 0.37%, NASDAQ up almost 1%, S&P up 1/3 and the Dow is up 0.17%. So pretty green across the board, again, besides the Dow. The good news here on the day today is this. Inflation in December was even lower than first reported, the government says. Updates to the Consumer Price Index showed that the broad basket of goods and services measured increased 0.2% in the month, less than the originally reported 0.3%, the Labor Department's Bureau of Labor Statistics said. While the change is only modest, it helped confirm that inflation was moderating as 2023 ended, giving more leeway to the Federal Reserve to start cutting interest rates later this year. So that is definitely some good news on the day today. It says the revisions are done as a matter of course for the BLS, but garnered extra attention this year after the market reacted sharply to last year's changes. Indications that inflation in 2022 rose more than anticipated drove Treasury yields higher and sparked worry from investors that the Fed might keep monetary policy more restrictive. Fed Governor Christopher Waller in particular had called attention to the 2022 revision, sparking market attention for the latest round. So everyone was kind of waiting to see if we would see an upward or downward revision, and it was a downward revision today. So that is a good reason why stocks are doing well, and that's really all there is. There wasn't much for, broader news. There wasn't any other data that really came out. So nonetheless, you got it. There you are. And now with AMC stock, you've been at a place that is so oversold for so long. AMC is arguably bouncing more than the average stock, right? And that's a good thing. And I do think it can continue for a while here. Now, if you look at Ortex, you are seeing the short interest percentage of free float that has been increasing for a while now, from about 7% now to 12.05%. You do have $123.5 million worth of short positions. Days to cover 1.72. 30.2 million shares that are currently sold short. Shares out on loan 34.28 million. Cost to borrow 1.08%. Utilization of 50.84%. And a short score of 64.03 out of 100. You do have a cost to borrow max at about 1.9%. Which does show a little bit of shorting activity in AMC, but really nothing to, write home about nonetheless. So those are your numbers there. If you take a look at the option activity here today for AMC stock, definitely on the bullish side, 76.63% to the call side, 23.37% to the put side. The interesting flow sentiment, you have 2 orders totaling $68,000 with a positive order value of 82%. So over the past couple of days, you've seen some pretty, bullish option activity from hedge funds and institutions. Today is no different. So you are seeing a little bit of bullish option activity, but not a lot of dollars that are really heading into AMC right now, which I do find a little bit interesting. Now, if we take a look at StockTwits here and the sentiment gauges, I'm sure you won't be surprised to know it's extremely bullish today. It's at 80. Yesterday was 52. That was categorized as normal. So people are pretty bullish today in AMC stock, extremely bullish if you were to look here on StockTwits. Message volume is high at 61, a little bit lower than yesterday, which was at 71. But you got to remember, it is a Friday, so a lot of people do just clock out on Friday. They don't want anything to do with stocks anymore. It is the weekend for some people. So keep that in mind. Participation ratio sitting at 38, which is on the low side, but not terrible overall. It could definitely be a lot lower. Now, AMC stock has now crossed above the $1 billion market cap threshold yet again today. So yeah, that's pretty important as far as a overall, kind of sentiment barometer. When you're a stock that's only in the hundreds of millions for market cap, people don't quite look at you the same. Whereas when you're over $1 billion, some people look at you a little bit differently. So there you have that. That's the bulk of what is actually happening today. We do have a new AI investor sentiment survey that is out. And bullish investors at 49.0%, neutral investors at 28.4%, and bearish investors at 22.6%. People getting a little bit more bullish and a little bit more neutral and a little bit less bearish, which is pretty interesting. People are afraid to miss out. There's definitely a lot of FOMO that is going on in our markets right now. If we take a look at the percent of stocks above their 50-day moving average, today you are seeing this up by about 0.2%. You're now at 51.3% of stocks above their 50-day moving average. So in the grand scope of things, are the markets doing fantastic? Absolutely not. Have they been doing fantastic? Absolutely not. Just you are seeing the broader index, doing good because of really AI. So yeah, you guys definitely do not want to miss the next video where we go in depth on what's coming next for our markets, AMC and AI. Now, coming next week's going to be a very big week because you're going to get, let's give an initial kind of run through here. Monday, not a whole lot of anything. Some Fed speakers. Tuesday, your inflation report, your CPI report, your core, and your headline. Now, the Fed has made it very clear they're focused on PCE, but CPI will have a huge effect on our markets nonetheless. On Wednesday, not much for U.S. economic data, some inflation data from the UK and other countries. GDP data on Thursday from the UK, retail sales month over month coming out on Thursday as well for the US. Lots of secondary data in that regard, and that is all we have so far here on the calendar. Now, if we take a look at AMC has went positive on the MACD. This was back here on January 26th. Ever since then, you kind of bottomed out. You got that last flush out like I previously talked about. You have started to increase. You've started to rally from $3.58 to where we currently are, almost $1. Now, I do think there's potentially a lot more that AMC stock can run from here. I'm targeting at least around this 50-day moving average, which is $5.43 per share, but you could overshoot that to the upside. You're also seeing the RSI, which has went positive. This was on let's see, on February 6th. So you have been positive now for 4 days on the RSI, and that is starting to actually get to a neutral place. You're at 46 on the RSI, which kind of puts a lid on some of this rally, because once you start to get to like 70, people are going to start shorting AMC stock again and trying to push the stock lower. But from now until we get to about 70 on the RSI, you could continue to rally from there. Overall, you're getting pretty close to neutral, which neutral is 50 following today's 8.5% gainer. If we look at the Bollinger Bands, you're over the middle Bollinger Band. You're almost to the high end of the band. So the bands, when there's less volatility, they're very narrow. When there's a lot of volatility, they widen out. And I'm sure the bands will start to widen out here because we're starting to get more upside volatility in AMC stock. So there is that. Again, RSI looks good. MACD looks good. Bollinger Bands, not as great because you're at the higher end of the band, but the band's going to start moving up, and maybe that does help AMC stock to go higher as well. Like I said, $5.50 per share is a good level that I'm targeting. Could the stock go higher than that? Of course, but I think you need some good news at that point to get the stock to go materially higher than $5.50 per share. You need to get a commitment from Adam Aron not to dilute shareholders. You need to see good earnings. You need to get something in order to see that actually happen. So let me know what you think about this information down below in the comment section. Hit the like button as well as subscribe to the channel. You guys have a great rest of your day, a new all-time high day, and I will see you in the next one.